Shabbat Shalom and welcome to Congregation Beth Yeshurun. It's a pleasure to have you join us this evening as we celebrate the Bat Mitzvah of Julia Goldberg and we celebrate the beginning of another Shabbat. We begin with an opening nigun. Now it's our pleasure to have a very proud mother and grandmother present candlesticks to our Bat Mitzvah. And we rise, page 4.
Our God and God of our ancestors, may the rays of these Shabbat candles cast the glow upon the earth and bring the radiance of your light to all your creatures. Bless our daughters with your love and our homes with the spirit of Shabbat. Amen.
Amen. You may be seated. Continuing on page 5, the middle of the page, Shalom Aleichem, Malchei Hasharet, Malchei Elyon.
Shalom Aleichem, Malchei Hasharet, Malchei Shalom, Malachei
continue now on page 11. Let us go and sing Adonai, and let us trumpet praise to our protector. L'chuna ra l'Adonai.
L'chuna rana, l'chuna rana, l'chuna rana, l'Adonai. L'chuna rana, l'chuna rana, l'chuna rana, l'Adonai. Naria, naria, letzuri sheinu, nekadma panav betoda. Naria, naria, letzuri sheinu, bizmira naria lo. L'chuna rana, l'chuna rana, l'chuna rana, l'Adonai. L'chuna rana, l'chuna rana, l'chuna rana, l'Adonai.
Yismachu Hashemayim v'tagel ha'aretz, page 14.
Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Metagel haaretz. Yismechu Hashamayim, Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Metagel haaretz. Yiramayam, 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 lo, Yiramayam, 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 lo, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Metagel haaretz. Yiramayam, 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 lo, Yiramayam, 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 lo.
Page 23. L'cha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela.
L'cha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. L'cha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'nibur echad, hishmiyanu el hamiuchad. Adonai echad l'shmo echad l'shem ultiferet, v'litila, v'litila. L'cha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. L'cha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat l'chu v'nelcha, hi מקור הברכה. נגרוש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה. תחילה לך אדוני לקראת כלה, פני שבת לקבלה. We rise and face the door. פני שבת לקבלה. אוי ושלום כתרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצורה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי כלה, בואי כלה. לך אדוני לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך אדוני לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
And you may be seated. And now we invite all those in mourning and all those observing a yurtzeit to remain standing for the words of the Mourner's Kaddish, page 30. Yitzgadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah. V'yalma divrach yurtei v'yalmik malchutei b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayeh dekol beit Yisrael v'agalav v'zman kari v'yimru amen.
Amen.
Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach Le'olam Omei Amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei Dekudusha B'richu Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Damiram b'yama v'yimru Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba min Shemaya V'chayim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yimru Amen. Osei Shalom b'mromav Hu ya'aseh Shalom aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yimru Amen. And now we all rise for the Baruch, page 39. Please be seated now as we continue on page 40, Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadta, Al ken Adonai Shochbeinu v'tumbeinu Nasiach b'chokecha v'adolam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed Hinei b'chayenu ve'orech yameinu u'vahem negei yomam v'layla ve'ahavatcha tasir mimenu Julia leads us in the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, v'chol levavecha, u'v'chol nafshecha, u'v'chol me'odecha. Hadavrim ha'ele asher anohim etzavecha hayom alevavecha veshinamtam levanecha vedibarta bam beshitecha beveitecha uvleftecha vaderech ushach becha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha vehayu letotafot bein einecha uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha.
We continue silently. Adonai Elohechem Emet. And on page 44, Julia leads us in Mi Chamocha. Page 45. Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom Hamideinu Malkeinu l'chaim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom Hamideinu Malkeinu l'chaim Ushmon et Tziteinu Uvoeinu L'chaim u'shalom Me'ata ve'ad olam Ve'ad olam Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom Ve'hamidenu Malkeinu l'chaim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom Ve'hamidenu Malkeinu Page 46, Julie leads us in Vishamru.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat va'asot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat va'asot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam. Beini u'bein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam. Yom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. V'shamru
remain standing for the silent prayer, page 47 through page 52.
Page 51, join together, Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. Ki ata And now we invite you to put your arms around each other and join together as we all sing Oseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom bimromah, Hu ya'aseh Shalom aleinu, Shalom aleinu, aleinu ve'al kol Kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Hu
we continue in our service as we offer a prayer of healing for those in our families and in our community who are sick at this time, as the cantor leads us in a special Misha Barg prayer.
Misha Barg avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing for us and all of those we love. Misha Barg imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
You may be seated now as we continue on page 54, the Kaddish Shalom.
Mikadal vikanash shemei rabba, el madi v'achidute v'al mikmalchute v'chayachane v'mechane v'chayach v'beid Yisrael, v'agalav izman kariv v'yimeru, amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevarach, le'alam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach, v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shemei nekudesha b'richu. לעילם כבחתה ושירתה, ושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמא, תאמרו אמן. תתקבל צלותון ובאותון לכל ישראל, קודם אבוני בשמיה, ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה בין שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו Amen.
Good Shabbos, everyone. Tonight we celebrate the beginning of Shabbat, and as we move into the month of month of March. It's hard to keep track of time nowadays. We move into the month of March, and normally in April, we celebrate the holiday of Passover, but this year, as you know, the Jewish holidays are very early. And in fact, in just a few weeks, 3 weeks from tomorrow night, we celebrate the holiday of Passover. And this year has been, of course, a difficult year for us, especially as Houstonians. On top of the COVID pandemic, we're still, many of us, dealing with the effects of that terrible winter storm just a few weeks ago. Our lives have been turned upside down. We've all been more busy than ever before trying to navigate this new world. And so many of us may be asking, well, Rabbi, why should I even worry about Passover? I've got enough on my plate right now. Why should I conduct a Seder? Why should I give up not just bread, but all bread products for the 8 days of the holiday of Passover, which begins just a few weeks away? To answer that question, I want to tell you a story that didn't happen here or even in Israel. Or the story I've told before, but I think it's an important reminder. A story that happened in all places in Japan during that tsunami of 2011. You may remember that tsunami from 10 years ago, the scenes of the massive destruction, all caused by an underwater earthquake that created a tsunami that wiped out entire villages. You see from the pictures, it was a devastating tsunami that destroyed villages and killed thousands. In Japan, there's an ancient fishing village named Merima. And over 1,000 years ago, another large tsunami hit that ancient fishing village. When that tsunami came 1,000 years ago, knowing that they were going to be flooded after they had felt an earthquake, the ancient villagers sought safety on the closest hill. But they didn't realize they had entered a deadly trap. A second wave, which had reached the interior of the island through an inlet, was speeding over the rice paddies from the opposite direction. The waves collided at that hill and killed those who had taken refuge there. To signify their grief and to advise future generations, the survivors of that tsunami 1,000 years ago erected a shrine that, believe it or not, still exists today. There's a picture of that shrine, 10 centuries old. A shrine put up by those survivors from 1,000 years ago to warn future generations. Well, sure enough, centuries later, on March 11th, 2011, the Merima Tsunami Warning Tower, which was supposed to sound an alarm, was silent, toppled by the earthquake. And without the benefit of an official warning system supported by modern science, the locals in 2011 relied on the lesson that had been transmitted generation to generation, Lador Vador. Everyone in that fishing village, from the oldest to the youngest, knew the story from 1,000 years ago about the 2 tsunami waves that collided at the shrine. So everyone in that village knew exactly what to do. Instead of taking refuge at the closest hill, the one with the shrine, they took the time to get to higher ground farther away. And sure enough, from the safety of their vantage point, they saw those 2 tsunami waves collide at the hill with the shrine, just like it had happened 1,000 years before. Reaching out to the distant past, to long-gone ancestors and a deeply embedded story, a community remembered and lived out what it had been told. And that story, generations past, saved countless lives in 2011. I love that story because the same is true with the Jewish people. We too, every Passover, reach out to the distant past, to long-gone ancestors and a deeply embedded story to remember and to live out what we have been told. We do so every spring, faithfully. Jews of all stripes, Jews of all religious observances, the most secular to the most religious. Through the observance of Passover, the 4 cups, the salt water, the maror and the choroset, the lechamoni, the poor bread, the matzah. To no chametz, no wheat, oats, rye, barley are spelt for 8 days. And that means no bread, no pita, no cereals, and my favorite, no pretzels. And no beer either for 8 days. That's what our people have done for generations. Therefore, because of that, we have a long embedded memory in our own collective Jewish DNA, because our ancestors have kept Passover not for 1,000 years, but for 3,000 years. Therefore, we have a memory that we were once strangers in a strange land. With that memory, we remember to be good, to be kind, to be generous to the stranger. Because through Passover, we recall what it is like to be oppressed, to be in need. During the Passover Seder, we proclaim, Halach ma'anya, let all people, Jews and non-Jews, all people who are hungry, come into our homes and eat. And in so many ways it has worked. There's a reason that we as Jews continue to be on the forefront of helping those on the margins of society. It's a history we can be proud of. There's a reason that Jewish organizations and specialized Israeli army units are normally the first on the scene to help victims anywhere they may be, often to places where there are no Jews. Israelis are often first to get a hospital up and running in places like Haiti, the Philippines, or even Japan. Years ago, I'll never forget, Israel was recognized by the United Nations for its work helping to contain Ebola in Western Africa. If the United Nations recognizes Israel for something good, you know it had to be for something very special. There's a reason that Israel, with all of its own challenges, shares so many technological breakthroughs in agriculture, medicine, and science with third world countries across the globe. The reason is Passover. That spring reminder is there. We don't forget what it's like to be broken, to be in need, to be marginalized, to be in need of support and help. So we're told, we're inspired to do something about it. But my friends, without keeping Passover, without doing a real Seder, without giving up bread products, without doing all the work necessary for this very busy, a lot of work in preparation for this very busy holiday, will our children, will our grandchildren, will the youth of our community know that we as Jews must help the needy, aid the oppressed, and befriend the stranger? Like those Japanese villagers, we too have a long embedded memory in our own collective Jewish DNA, but without a real and meaningful Passover, will the future of our people have that same DNA? We keep all the Passover observances not just because it's tradition. We do them in order that we internalize the central message of Pesach. As Jews, it is our mission. It is our reason for being, to help those in need. There's no greater message for our children and for all of us, one with no Jewish guilt at all. I recently read that on the popular website Urban Dictionary, a Jewish guilt trip is defined, one that's laid out by Jewish parents, as the most powerful force in the universe. But in this day and age, I don't think it's true when it comes to Jewish observances. I see it often, especially with our young today, millennials, with Generation Z. They're too much part of the greater world around them to keep Jewish traditions simply out of guilt. And so they want to know the reasons why, the reasons behind our customs and our traditions and our practices. Why should they choose to do something? Why be Jewish? Why do Passover? And Passover, with all its great customs and traditions, is about making us better and kinder, ready to do more of those in need. That's the reason. Perhaps a reason that will speak to our young more than ever before. Because guilt won't work. Nostalgia won't work. You need all of it. And especially, you need a compelling reason, the reason, why we do Passover every year. I hope this year you'll consider doing more for this holiday than you've ever done in the past. And you still have 3 weeks to prepare. And we at Beth Yeshurun are here to help, to answer any questions you may have, to guide you, to be there for you. The choice is yours. So this March at Beth Yeshurun, we've decided every Friday night and every Saturday, anytime we're giving a sermon, to prepare you for Passover, to give you advice, to teach you parts of the holiday, to help prepare you for the holiday that we get to celebrate every spring. And every Friday night, Kenner Finkelstein will teach us a melody that many of us will sing at our Passover Seders. So tonight, to begin, the cantor will speak a little bit about and lead us in that song we do towards the beginning of a Seder every year, Halachma.
Thank you, Rabbi. Halachma anya, this is the bread of affliction. The language sounds like Hebrew, but it isn't Hebrew. It's a language called Aramaic, which is even older than Hebrew, and was the language of the Jews around the time of the temple and the time that we were in Babylon. So this is towards the beginning of the Seder, when we speak about what's called the Magid, which is the history of the coming out of Egypt. יאכלו אבתנה בערה דמצרים לה 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 השטחה לשנה הבאה בערד ישראל כל דכפין יתה ויחול כל דצריך יתה ויפסח השטחה לשנה הבאה בני
Can you come to all of our Seders, Kenner Finkelstein? I get him first. Thank you, Kenner Finkelstein. We look forward to doing that every Friday night, the next several weeks. And we know we can find a lot of your Passover melodies on YouTube as well that can be linked from our website. Let us now continue in our service as we rise for Aleinu, page 56.
Shabbat la'adon hakol la'tez gedula leotzer breshit shelo asanu kegoye ha'aratzot velo samanu kemishbehot ha'adama shelo samhokenu kahem vegor aleinu kechol hamonam ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינתו זו בגובהי מרומים הוא אלוהינו אין עוד אמת מלכנו אפת זולתו כך כתוב בתורתו וידעת היום השפעת אל לבבך כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל והארץ מתחת אין עוד נאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
We now wish everyone who is observing the yurt site and who's in mourning to stay standing as we offer the words of the mourner's Kaddish, which can be found on page 58. In this week at Beth Yeshurun, we offer condolences to the families of Jacqueline Kennelly, Jody Limbrand, Paul Hussman, Jock Hutchclob, Walter Mendelovitz, Faith Levitt, Robin Skolknek, Marvin Kaplan, Dawn Marie Harrison, Marlene Bear Kaplan. Page 58. Yitkaral v'yikara shemei rabbah, v'yamad divrach yirteh v'yamlik malchuteh, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayeh dekol beit Yisrael, v'agalav v'zman kariv v'yimru amen, Yehei shemei rabbah mevorach leolam omei amaya, Yitbarak v'yishtabak b'tzba'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudusha b'richu, le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata damiram bi'amav v'yimru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Osei shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yimru amen. And you may be seated. So this actually is a little bit of a turning point, a big turning point on this Friday night. And those of you who are at home may not, but this is the first time since the beginning of the pandemic, in almost a year now, that we've been able to have Beth Yeshurun members here with a bar or bat mitzvah. And I have to tell you, I know the cantor agrees with me and our congregational president, Jared Bloom, what a pleasure it is just to see the bar a little bit more filled up. We're still about 50 people. We have a long way to go, and we know that's going to take a little time, and we don't want to rush anybody, but we do think it's safe here. We think it's very safe. We wear masks, we're socially distanced, but we want you to feel the comfort and warmth of a service in our Barg sanctuary. So now, every Friday night, whether we have a bar or bar mitzvah, you are invited to register and to come to services, and we would love to see you. And we have a bat mitzvah next Shabbat, and then on March 19th, we don't have a bar or bar mitzvah. So we'll have the opportunity to welcome 60 of our members here on March 19th. But next Friday night, our bat mitzvah family is only using 30 of the spots, so we have 30 spots available. And so every Friday night, whether it's a bar or bar mitzvah, sign up. We'd love to see you. And whether it's here or in the Greenfield Chapel on the weekday or on Shabbat as well, or in Shabbat morning in the Greenfield Chapel member-led service, we'd love to have you here. If you have any questions, need any help registering, just let me know or any of our staff. We look forward to it in these weeks ahead as this pandemic, God willing, this is the beginning of the end. And God willing, this pandemic over the next several months goes away and we can return safely to our lives as we knew before the pandemic. I look forward to that day. I want to share a couple announcements with you. Tomorrow night, we're partnering with the Evelyn Rubenstein Jewish Community Center to show the movie Shiva Baby from our parking lot. It's a great movie, really just for adults, but it's one you don't want to miss. You could still sign up on the JCC website, or you can find a link from our website. This Sunday, we have an incredible opportunity for all of you, whether you're a member or not a member, and I'm going to let Kenner Finkelstein tell you about this concert. I can't wait to see it. I've seen a little bit of it, and you are in for a real treat.
So we have a very, very special evening of music. We have 3 superb singers from the HGO, Houston Grand Opera, who did us a wonderful favor by coming here a few weeks ago and recording some beautiful arias from opera. We also have all the way from England a very world-famous concert pianist who played something special for us and sent us a message. And I also sang a few songs which will be on the program. So please tune in Sunday evening at 7 o'clock.
And it's very easy to find. Just go to the Beth Yeshurun website or go to our Facebook or YouTube channel. It's about an hour long. Again, you don't want to miss it. Grab your loved ones, sit in front of the TV or your smart TV or your computer or your phone, whatever it may be, and I hope you'll have an opportunity to watch this very special evening put on by our cantor and your friends at Beth Yeshurun. We're excited to partner with Jewish Family Service for a special Pekuach Nefesh mental health training. It's scheduled for March 9th. This Thursday in our Lunch with the Rabbi series, we'll be partnering with ADL. And we'll have a presentation by Senior Associate Director Dina Marks on hate incidents, hate crimes, and how to respond. This Sunday, we're honored to have the Gulf Coast Regional Blood Center here at Beth Yeshurun hosting a blood drive. There's been thousands of blood units that were lost because of the winter storm. So we're looking for blood donations. You can still sign up. Go to our website. That's this Sunday from 10 to 2. We really need the donors, so I hope you'll have an opportunity to do that. Next week, we'll be continuing our Shabbat Table Talk series, and I'm honored to welcome my friend, Dr. Ed Septimus. He's a leading infectious disease specialist. He's been giving advice to organizations, schools, businesses throughout North America during this pandemic. And we're honored to have him here at Beth Yeshurun to talk about COVID, talk about what we've learned from this experience, to hear his predictions for the future, and what we can all do to continue to keep ourselves safe during this pandemic. So that's next Friday night during our Shabbat service. We welcome Dr. Ed Septimus. And finally, as we spoke about Passover earlier tonight, our catering department is also there to help you make Passover even more special this year with their Passover kosher meals to go. The deadline is coming up soon. You could get Seder plates, everything you need, great food for your Seder, just a few weeks away. Go to our website to sign up for that. Finally, and most importantly, I want to again wish a mazel tov to Julia on your bat mitzvah. It's great to see your older sister, Sarah, who celebrated her bat mitzvah just a few years ago. Your very proud parents, Felicia and Stephen. Your grandparents that are here, Jerry. It's good to see you here with my friend Marsha Bernstein and Floyd and Charlotte. What a pleasure it is to see you. It's been too long, and I'm so glad you were able to be with us this evening. And we, of course, think about Sylvia. I know she's with us here in spirit. And I know what an honor it is. Tomorrow we'll get to see a little video from her, but your great-grandmother, Lisa Strusan, who I know is watching us online this evening. I think your great-grandmother is almost 100 years old now, right? What an incredible woman, a survivor. And just to see you up here, Julia, this evening, I know has to bring her so much pride and joy. So hello to you and to all of your family members and friends that are watching all over the world this evening. Mazel tov to Julia. And finally, I want to tell you one other thing we're doing a little different tonight that pertains to all the people that are gathered in the Barg Sanctuary. After Julia leads us in the Kiddush, as the cantor begins his singing of Shabbat Shalom, I'd ask you to join me and to join Jared and Cantor Finkelstein and eventually our bat mitzvah and the family. Join us in the Sukkah courtyard. We're going to go out there. That way we can get outside. It's a little bit safer, of course, and enjoy a little oneg. We've got a little challah out there and some grape juice. So we will see you in the Sukkah courtyard. And again, just follow me out there. We'll start to do it when the cantor leads Shabbat Shalom. And so now I want to bless all of our children that are with us and are watching. For our sons, we say, Yisimcha Elohim Ke'Ephraim V'Ke'Menashe. May God bless our sons like Ephraim and Menashe and all the good boys of our tradition. And for our girls, we say, Yisimech Elohim Kesara Rivka Rachel V'Leah. May God bless our daughters like Sarah, Becca, Rachel, and Leah. And may God always bless our children with shalom, peace. And let us say, Amen. Please now rise for the Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher ketshanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzav lanu, v'shabbat kodsho, be'ahava uvratzon, hinilanu, zikaron lema'aseh bereshit, kihu yom tehillah, leminkra en kodesh, secher letziyah mitzrayim, kivanu v'charta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, ve'shabbat kodshecha, ve'ava uvratzon, hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh hashabbat.
Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Go! Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat,